Hi, y'all. Welcome to Spirit Mail. I'm Cheryl, and this is Daily Mail episode 32. And I think I'm going to entitle it Death, Dying, and Mama. Um, Before I get started, I do want to say that if you are one of the people that put your name in the hat for the Roundtable discussion, stick around because after the PS, I am going to, on camera, do that drawing. But it'll be after the PS, after this topic. So I'm a nap taker, and today, whenever I laid down to take a nap earlier this afternoon, I swear y'all think I'm just so weird because whenever I lay down to take a nap, I'm like, okay, God, talk to me while I'm napping, or, just something like that. And whenever I did that and I closed my eyes, actually, I got an overwhelming feeling of my mom. My mom passed away in 1999 from ovarian cancer, and I was her caregiver from the time that she was diagnosed until the time that she passed away 14 months after diagnosis. In the very last days, whenever the doctor sent her home with hospice, I asked, Mom, where do you want to go? Because my dad worked 7 and 7. They didn't have any kids at home anymore. And she said she wanted to come to my home to die. And I was good with that. I really was good with that. Because my dad, whenever he came home from offshore, he could come stay at my house. We had plenty of room. So that's how we worked it out. But anyway, some people said, oh my God, Cheryl, you can't do that to your kids. You can't allow your kids, they're going to be traumatized, because my kids were all, young. My oldest one was in junior high, and then the younger one's elementary and even younger. But anyway, you can't do that. You're going to traumatize your kids. And I was flabbergasted, number one, that they would even think it was their business. But the other thing I said to them was, kids are resilient and they're going to respond however we respond. If I act like this is going to be a horrible, traumatic thing for them, then it will be. But if I just, keep my sense about me and help them to understand that dying is part of life, then that's how they're going to react. So, and that was correct. That's how my children reacted, that dying was part of life. They missed their grandmother, yes, when she passed away. And she passed away very young. As a matter of fact, she passed away when she was my age. I am 54, and that's how old she was when she passed away. So it was way too early in my mind for her to leave. But that's where I want to, that's where the story starts, I think, with Mom. And because she was pretty specific in whenever I laid down and I felt that overwhelming sense of love from her, she basically said she wanted to talk. She wanted me to tell a couple of stories from that experience. And the first thing is that, whenever she did die, I said, or whenever she got diagnosed and they called her terminal and sent her home with hospice, I would tell people that, God is going to cause us to stand on our own 2 feet one way or another. And whenever we, as her grown kids, cannot let go of her apron string, God's going to pull that apron string away so that we'll stand up. That was my idea about it. I can't pretend to really know what God was thinking or what Mom's soul was thinking about the whole thing. I do know that when she was a young woman, she always said that all she wanted to do is raise her kids. And once her kids were raised, she would feel like she had lived a fulfilled life. So her kids were raised, and at 54 years old, she passed away from ovarian cancer. Anyway, the very first thing that she wanted me to talk about was honoring meaning her, a person who is ill, honoring their requests when it comes to prayer. My mom, toward the end, She was on board outwardly about chemo and stuff like that in the beginning. But as the journey went on, she was pretty much done. And even before the doctors called her terminal, she was done. She's reminding me of one more thing that she wants me to talk about. Even before they sent her home with hospice, she had pretty much resigned herself to the fact that she was done. Whatever happened, happened, and she was good with that. There was a time whenever in Houston at MD Anderson Hospital, whenever they said, we're sending your mom home, we need to get hospice, all that stuff, she wanted me to get all of the kids over there. She didn't know how much longer she was going to be at the hospital there because they needed to do a transfusion, but she wanted all the kids there. So we got all the kids there, all grown, we were all grown-ups. I got all the kids over there to Houston, and she had said in one of our conversations that she was ready. She was ready to go. She was tired, and she was ready. Well, each one of the kids went in to visit with her, and whenever we came out into the to the lobby area after we left her room, her area, they wanted to stand around and pray for Mom's healing. And I couldn't. And I said, I won't. And they said, why? And I said, because Mom is not asking us to pray for her healing. Mom said she's ready. She's ready to go. She's resigned to the fact that this is it, and she's ready to go. And a couple of them kind of were a little irritated with me and frustrated with me. But again, I felt like I needed to honor Mom's desire. And at that time, she was ready to go. The second part was, once I did have her back at home with hospice, different people from her church and, that's basically most of her circle, but she did have a couple close friends from out of town, but different people from her church or people that she associated with would come into my home and go into the room and visit with her. And whenever they would leave, they would come out and close the door and stand right there in front of the door and just bawl and cry. And I understand that. I understand the sad grieving ahead of time, the sadness and all that. I would walk them to the door, and then I would go back to the room to check on Mom, and she would say, I'd say, Mom, are you okay? And I'd walk over and she'd take my hand. She'd say, I'm okay, Cheryl, but pray for them because they don't understand. They don't see what I see. And what she was telling me was that she could already see where she was headed. And the reason I know that is because whenever we were on our way home from Houston that last time, we were driving down the road and she was looking out the window, and it was March, so the spring hadn't sprung yet. The colors hadn't come back yet. It was still kind of dead like. And so we're driving down the road and she's looking out the window and she says, look, Cheryl, the colors are so vibrant. They're so beautiful. And I looked out in the direction and I could still see dead, the leaves hadn't come back on the trees yet. And the grass still was kind of icky looking, and nothing had sprung back to the beauty of spring yet. So at first I thought, I wonder what kind of drugs they have her on. But then immediately I knew in my heart that she was seeing where she was headed. And that's what she was saying whenever those people would leave and she'd take my hand, she'd say, pray for them. They just don't see where I'm going. They don't get it. So, and I don't know why this message was important for her today. Maybe some of you are with somebody who is terminally ill. Maybe you feel like there's things that you could have done in the past, grieving things or whatever, when you were the caregiver of somebody who was ill. But it was important to my mom, so I'm honoring her. The other thing she wanted me to talk about was my red suit. The day that she died, the day of her funeral, I looked in my closet and immediately my eyes were drawn to a red suit. And it's a nice tailored skirt with a tailored jacket, and I loved that suit, and my mom absolutely loved that suit, and she loved red on me. That for her, that was her absolute favorite color on me. So I opened my closet, saw that suit, and I was like, yep, that's what I'm wearing to Mom's funeral. And goes back to tradition and culture. There were some of the people at the funeral home who came up to me, two ladies in particular at separate times. I can't believe you're wearing red to your mom's funeral. That's so disrespectful. And I just smiled at the first lady and I said, I understand why you would think that, but my mom loved me in red, and this is about honoring her. That's what this is about. And I think sometimes we forget about honoring the person, and instead we try to make ourselves fit into this box that society has created for us, right? My mom loved that red suit. She loved red on me, but she loved that red suit too. And so that was about honoring her. The other thing that she wanted, because we had the opportunity to sit around the table over a period of days and plan her funeral, and she was really excited about that. As a matter of fact, one of the things that she insisted on was that the pastor not preach about, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. She wanted him to preach a life-giving salvation message, the gospel of Jesus, how, about love and loving each other and doing for each other. She didn't want anybody being sad that she was going home, because in her mind, this was a joyous occasion. And so, one of the things that she wanted was to have a closed casket. And that devastated me. And I said, Mom, why do you want a closed casket? And she says, because I don't want people coming there just to look at me while I'm dead in the casket. And I kind of laughed at her, and I said, well, okay, I get that, or laughed with her. And I said, okay, I get that, but Mom, we need, as your kids, and Dad, as your husband, we need that closure. And she said, okay. At the end of the service, whenever everybody's leaving to go to the cemetery, she says, after everybody gets out, she says, you can open the casket and let only family, immediate family, come to the casket. And I said, like only Dad and us kids and the grandkids? She says, yes. I said, what about Uncle so-and-so? And what about, okay, them too, but nobody else. I said, okay. So I honored that. Whenever we, for her funeral, we closed the casket. And then a lady came up to me and she says, your poor mama, that cancer must have really ate her up. And my mom's, and I said, no, my mom wasn't ate up. I mean, physically she was still beautiful. I said, but she just didn't want people looking at her while she was dead. She didn't want people just looking at her, being nosy about how she looked while she was dead. So again, people, and I think that's about people interpreting things. People look at a situation from the outside and they decide what it means. That lady decided that because that casket was closed, my mom must have looked terrible. She decided that. And people do that. And whether it's at a funeral with a closed casket, or whether it is in our life, something's going on in your life. Example, there was one time whenever I left my husband, and long time ago, not this last time, but left my husband, and I took the vehicle that I had and I traded down to a lesser vehicle, an older model that I wouldn't have to pay notes on, because I was going to a single household income. And I ran into a pastor, and he decided, based on that decision that God must be upset with you, Cheryl, because look, you've had to step down your lifestyle. God's removing his blessings from your life. So people, it can be some nosy person at a funeral, and she might not have been nosy. She might have had a good heart about it and just been, trying to comfort me. I don't know, but she looked at something and made a decision based on what she saw. That pastor looked at something and made a decision based on what he saw. So people do that every day, and we have to know in our hearts. I feel like that's part of what Mom's message is. We have to know in our hearts that it's okay for people to make their judgments. They don't know the whole story. That was one of the things that she said to me many times. They don't know the story, and what they're thinking is based on what they see or what they feel they know. So we can't always worry about what other people are thinking or what their judgments are, because it doesn't matter anyway. Okay, and then the Xanax. Actually, it was Zoloft. I wrote Xanax, but while she was ill, those last days when they sent her home with hospice, they gave Mom Zoloft, and she took it for a while. And then I remember one morning I was going to give her medication, and she pushed that pill back. And I said, Mom, why don't you, that's your Zoloft. And she says, I know. She says, I want to feel everything there is to feel these last days of my life. And if that means that I cry, then I want to be able to cry. She said, and I hope that doesn't make anybody too uncomfortable, but that's what I want. I want to feel things. She says, whenever I take that Zoloft, I feel nothing. It's like I'm a zombie, and I don't want to leave this world in that state. I want to feel the love. I want to feel the sadness. I want to feel the deep joy. I want to feel it all. So I honored that, and obviously not going to make her take a medication that she doesn't want to take. She was leaving this world. That medicine wasn't going to change that. But what it did change was the way she was experiencing that departure. So I feel like sometimes we honor the wrong things. We honor culture. We honor societal norms. We honor I'm trying to think of the right words, but I think you know what I'm saying. We don't wear white after Labor Day. Well, if white was my mom's favorite color on me and she died after Labor Day, you could bet I would show up in a white suit if to honor her. So I feel like that's Mom's message, is honor yourself. Honor yourself and love yourself enough to know that you matter. And even when other people don't understand, it's okay. They don't see what you see. They've not experienced what you've experienced. So that's death, dying, and Mama. And I'm going to ask for a PS just in case I forgot something or could have said something better. Well, I would do a PS anyway. But God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, and Mama, if there's anything else that I should have said or I could have said something differently, please bring it to my mind or show me, according to the cards, what that something is. Otherwise, just give us a little PS for this Spirit Mail, Daily Mail episode. We thank you for clear and concise messages. We thank you for love, light, and prosperity. And we thank you for clarification, confirmation, and validation. Please show us the PS as it relates to this message. Okay. PS. Guys, this is about leaving things behind. We can go through our entire life filling our cups with things that really don't fill us up. And I feel like that's part of Mom's message, is be true to who you are. And don't worry about what other people think about it, because they don't see. Like she said, whenever I would go back in her room after somebody would leave just bawling. I'd go back in her room and she'd say, pray for them. They don't see. So this is about you leaving those things that don't serve you and go after what's going to fill your heart up, because those other people, they don't see. Wow. I think Mama's saying that, your world is what you make of it. And you're the one who lives in your world, right? And I know that in the traditional scheme of things with readings and stuff, this is about a whole new cycle and stuff like that. And perhaps that's what she's saying. You deserve the cycle of life that you want to live in. Me wearing a red dress to her funeral, it was about me feeling connected to her and me honoring her. I stepped outside of the world's view of what we should do when it comes to funerals, how we should show up in my culture. Live in your world, right? I feel like that's what Mom's saying. Go after those 2 cups that fill your world up, that make you feel connected to those people that you love so deeply, that makes you feel connected to God, to Spirit. Do you in your world, and trust that there's really no rules about it. There's really no rules about it. When we come from a place of love, Jesus said, I know, Ma. Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself. And when you do those 2 things, all the other laws of the prophets are filled. We don't have to worry about abiding by strict laws and commandments when we keep those 2 things front and foremost in our heart. And then our world changes, because we're no longer feeling pressured to live up to. We're no longer feeling pressured to worry about what so-and-so's going to think. That was one of my mom's biggest deals. Don't worry about what so-and-so thinks. So, yeah, be honest. Be honest and true to yourself, and allow yourself to walk into the cycle of life that you choose to live, that fills you up. And it might mean sometimes walking alone, right? A lot of times this 5 of Pentacles has another little person with this. There's 2 people here. But in this deck, there's only 1 person. It might mean walking alone. It might mean leaving behind teachings that you were taught growing up. Little things like, gotta wear black to Mama's funeral. No, I don't. This is my mom, and I'm honoring her, so I'll wear red. And I might be the only one that shows up in red, but that's okay. I don't care how people look at me. This is about my mom and honoring her life. So whenever this card shows up, I'm being reminded that, because this was something else that she was saying earlier, it's not just the big things in life that trip us up. It's the little things like that. It's the little things like showing up at Mama's funeral with a red suit. And people looked at me like I was weird. That's okay. It was about me and Mom that day. I didn't care what anybody else had to say, because my mom taught me that it's okay to be true to me and her if I'm honoring her. It's okay to be true to myself. So sometimes we do feel like we're the only one on that journey. Sometimes we feel like we're the only one and people are going to look at us weird. But that's okay. Because this whole new world that you move into is going to be so much more fulfilling to you. Mama, it brings you into the life of abundance, truly. It's an abundance of love. It's an abundance of uh, of 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 money, where you don't have to worry about things. This is generational and legacy abundance, where it passes down from generation to generation. The fullness of being who you are, the fullness of allowing yourself to be true to you, and which also allows your kids to be true to themselves without the pressures of society. It allows your friends to be true to themselves without the pressures of society. And whenever we understand and we can walk in that kind of abundance, the fullness of love, the fullness of knowing our truth, the pressure leaves. And the heart gets filled up, and there's nothing in there. There's no space that we have to feed with addictions, with over shopping, overeating, over anything, because we're full. So we don't have to make up with drugs, with alcohol. We don't have to make up for something that's missing when we're walking right here. And like I said, sometimes it means leaving old teachings behind. Show up in red at your mama's funeral if she loved you in red. Walk in your truth. Let this new cycle, we got a new decade coming up, y'all. It's not just a new year, it's a whole new decade. Allow this new decade to be the decade of you, and watch what happens in your life. Okay, that is the Daily Mail episode. And if you are not interested in hearing about the drawing, then thank you for stopping in. I love you so much. Have a super duper day, and I can't wait to see you next time. If you're interested to see who's going to be participating in the roundtable, stick around. This is going to be a long segment, because I am going to read each name that I'm putting in here. Don't y'all love this? I love this. I got it at a garage sale a long, long time ago. And I don't even know what it is. I just love it. Anyway, I'm going to read the names as I put them in there, because I want everybody to know that you got in there. And if you said I'm in after I did all this, then send me another email or something, and I'll put you in for the next one. But I'm going to pull 3 names and an alternate. And the reason I'm going to pull an alternate is because I really, truly want to do this on Saturday morning. And somebody at this short of notice may not be able to jump in on Saturday morning. So Margaret Marichaux going in. Soul Journey going in. Giant, Giant, going in. Look, whether you had a picture on your profile or not, you're going in. I'm trusting spirit on this. Divinely Guided Rainbows going in. Warren Griffin going in. Heidi Emerson going in. Sharon L. at Quilt Queen for You going in. Aurora, that's one thing I worried about, was being able to say these names. Renteria, Aurora Renteria going in. Angela Ashe going in. Kathy Davis, I think you go by Kit Kat, going in. Sophia Musino going in. Layla Renee going in. Moonbeam Pixie Dust Tarot going in. Naja Alston going in. Courtney Holman going in. Courtney Holman going in. Ashley LaRae Sampson going in. Kim Wise going in. Gigi P. Gigi, 2 big G's, 1 little P going in. Audrey Barandy, I think that's how you say it, going in. Nicole Crouch, Styles Go Viral, going in. Deshandra Harrelson going in. Blessed Abundance Oracle going in. Jan Carr going in. S. Sheehan Rose S. Sheehan Rose going in. Brandy, A Beacon of Light going in. Beth at Enlightened Science going in. Lava Oasis Farm Ruth Pettingos going in. Bernadette Hannah going in. Teresa Carroll going in. Lisa Casey going in. Evie and the Light Ortiz. No. Edie and the Light Ortiz Putt going in. We'll just say Evie and the Light. And this one I don't even know how to say. Sanguida Poppet Law. Sanguida Poppet Law. Poppet Law. Gail at Equestrian Lover. I'm not about to try to say that last name. Tyrell Pratt going in. And Maxine Durham going in. Okay, guys, I'm going to draw 4 names. Can y'all see this? Okay. One, 2, 3. And the 4th one will be an alternate just in case we need a backup 4. So, ready, guys? Evie and the Orts, Evie and the Light. I don't have an email from you. So if you're Evie and the Light, please email me at spiritmailtarot@gmail.com so that we can get together on our schedule. Courtney Holman. Courtney Holman. I have an email for you. Good, so I'll email you back. Kim Wise, I don't have an email for you, so please email me, Kim Wise, so that I can get together with you on the schedule. And Warren Griffin, please email me. No, I have your email, so I can email you. So, Warren, since you're the last one I said out loud, you're going to be the, you know what? I'm going to say we're going to schedule all 4 plus me. That'll be 5 of us on camera. And then if one of them can't show up, then we'll have 4 of us on camera. So we're going to schedule everybody to be there, though. Okay, guys. And listen, if your name didn't get pulled, don't be upset about that because we're going to do this again. As a matter of fact, I thought about drawing for the next one tonight, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to draw for the next one next time. But I love you all so much. I can't wait to see where this goes. And until next time, have a super duper day. Okay, have a super duper day. Bye.